Oh, hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again. And back we are this time to the Focke Wulf, the Fw190. And I think the last couple of videos, there have been some things I haven't shown and some things that I have. I mean, for example, putting these wing sections on, I haven't shown. I should have done really, but I had some small disasters with filming and so on and so forth. So we're here now. So what I'm going to have a crack at today is getting these wing sections on, putting the engine cowling on, and I'll have a few words about that at some stage, and cracking on with the top section here where the machine gun barrels poke out, and that's the obviously the past the propeller, not through the propeller, past the propeller. Machine guns go 13.5mm machine guns, possibly. I might be wrong with that. I mean, I stand to be corrected on all of these things, this and many other things. So the idea of that is, let's get this on to start with, and then make certain this is sighted correctly here, so that it everything looks as it should do. And the thing that concerns me about this, which is the sighting of the cowling underneath. Now, I thought this would be a little bit more difficult to do, because it's actually rather difficult. It all has to go together at the same time in order to get the best fit. So I shall endeavour to get this in as best I possibly can, which may or may not be requiring of further work. As you can see, some of the sections are slightly protruding. Now, let's just zero in on this so that you can take a look at this. So as you can see, I'll get the old poker out wherever that's gone. That's over here. Now, as I fit this in this way, as you can see, there's a step here, and it's reasonably even. And there's also another step here, which is actually slightly larger, just in there. So I'm thinking to myself that if I get that sighted a bit better, the step between the two is actually pretty even, which would lead me to believe that perhaps it's designed to be there, but unfortunately I can't find a suitable photograph that would confirm that. So I'm going to have to take a bit of a risk here when I come to glue that in, and then hopefully everything will turn out well. But the other thing I want to make certain that we do when we put all this in together, well, that's moved, is to get, I'll zero in and show you that as well, is to get this section here lined up with this, and this section here, as you can probably tell. So the important thing is to do that, and there may be some gap filling. Now, excuse me, with relation to the cowlings, of course, and the engine, from my research I can see that what tended to happen is that replacement engines were dispatched from the factory to the squadrons actually in a box, and they sort of looked a bit like this. So they were dispatched ready assembled with cowlings, and I think, you know, right the way back to the exhaust manifolds and so on, so they could just simply be slotted straight on very much after this fashion. So it's that's kind of surprising, but obviously would cut down enormously on maintenance time, so the aircraft was in the air as much as possible and in the hangar as little as possible. So that excuse me again, that would be how that would go. But I think if I look at this over the other way, I think we can get this pretty much in, and so that's a useful thing to do. I think the first thing I'm going to try though is just to get these wing sections on. So we'll just zero in and show you what I'm going to try and achieve here, is to actually get these cutouts here. So you can see these little cutouts here where the wing section, let's see if we can get that, there we go, that's now focused in. The wing section comes out there, it goes in a little bit, and then it goes out again, and this section of the wing actually fits fairly snugly onto that thusly. And once you get that in, as you can see, the fit is yeah, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty good. it's not bad at all. If you press down on that wing section, obviously you can make a non-fitting part. Let's go out, not in. That's probably better, isn't it? Let's go back to 0.6 mag. So I think we can get them in. I'm going to use some extra thin quick setting on this to help me get these sighted absolutely properly if I can. We'll do the inside section and then run to the outsides. But the other thing I've got to get right here is, and I'll zero in and show you that as well, is this section just there. That has to be brought in properly as well. So we've got to have our wits about us doing this, to be honest with you. And all we can do is have a crack at it and see how we get along, eh? And if things go wrong, then you know, we might have to swear a little bit and rescue it in some manner. But you never know, things might go okay. So let's have a crack at it. By the way, the instructions tell you to cut out these little sections here, which I've done after a fashion, but I've not overcut them so that I can fit the machine guns, for that is what you're going to be fitting in there. I can fit them in afterwards. So let's have at it, shall we? So let's get ourselves some extra thin quick drying and go back to this 0.5 mag. I think that's going to be sufficient for this. I think we're about there on that. So I think what we'll do is just make sure we're done up at the wing here, and then there we go. I'm just going to glue into this section here, and hopefully that all goes reasonably nicely. That clipped up there. Try and get that sighted as best I can, and then I know I perhaps should come up from the other side, but I'm going to go down from the top here, but do so really carefully. Yeah, that's set up rather nicely. That's okay. So what we'll just do is gently run a bead of cement in there and see if we can get that to just hold in there. Same along here, and you can just barely see the legend where the cement has gone in, so that's okay there. And then another bead along here, so there's a slight gap there that I'm going to have to fill in there, but that I think is sort of par for the course in that sense, in the grand scheme of things, and it's not going to show all that much. I'm just going to move that off camera and jostle the camera just a little bit, because, well, it wouldn't be the same if I didn't jostle the camera a bit, eh, would it? So what we'll do is I'll just come across come across with the leading edges here and just glue them where I can, and gently across. And because this extra thin quick setting goes so quickly, we can get across this wing section quite easily, and the joint will be pretty strong, so we should be okay with that. Just looking for a place I can hold this. So the fit is not quite good in terms of the wing sections here, because the wings are slightly bowed. That's the limitations of the plastic moulding, I think, and so we're just going to have to do the best we can with it. Obviously this is 1/32 scale, so it's quite difficult to get the entire wing section in here. so we just have to manage as best we can. What I am going to do is try and involute the wing sections here as much as I can with extra thin quick setting, so that I get the best bond that we can make. And that will be, I think, most helpful. It'd be even more helpful if it was on camera, eh? That would be probably quite useful. So here we go again. So we'll go to the rear section here. Yeah, as you can see, these don't quite, I just need to press down on these to make them up. Let's move that away there, and just press down. So I have to be careful here that I don't put glue onto my hand, because it will wick across quite bloody quickly and leave gluey marks everywhere, gluey fingerprints, and we don't want that. It says here. There we go. Extra thin quick setting. So you just gently push these together. Some people say that the bond for extra thin quick setting is perhaps not quite so good. I'm inclined to accept that assertion, to be honest with you. And the reason I think that might be the case is because clearly, you know, the glue doesn't have enough time to act before before it loses its shall we call it adhesive quality. So that, I mean, it seems a reasonable conclusion to draw on the face of it, and I'm pretty content that people who say this are probably right, and that's fine and dandy as far as I'm concerned. But it does have the unmitigated advantage of bonding very quickly, which is exactly what we want in situations like this when we're trying to put wing sections on. So there we go, that's one of them. Let's just move that away a minute, and we'll do the same on the other side, and we'll just get ourselves set up here. And I got a screw nib on that. No, I thought there was an imperfection on that. Hang on a minute. No, I think that's okay. So we'll get the other side section on here, and oh, hang on, there we are. It's a Monday night as I film this, and okay, that's good. That's settled in the right place. That's settled in the right place as well. And I noticed that the Ice Queen 7 is will not be. See, that's fitted up nicely there. That's good. It will not be doing her live stream tomorrow because her and Plastic Monkey are not very well at the minute. I think we're all getting it, so I think they'll be back on Christmas Eve, so I shall endeavour to drop into that then and see where we land up. Hopefully all will be well and you'll all have a good and restful Christmas season, and I sincerely hope that that turns out to be the case for each and every one of you. Oh no, I can't let that go right yet, can I? That was a bit foolish. So let's do the wing front edges before we start fiddle-faddling around underneath, shall we? So as you can see, we've got a bit of a gap there, and that hole is slightly off centre there as well. We can see that, so there's going to be a bit of work to do here in terms of gap filling and such like. Yeah, I think will need to be pressed down, so I'm going to leave that fairly open at this stage, but I'm going to glue this section here. So if you want a kit that's easy to fit together, then, you know, quite honestly, buy a Tamiya. These kits fit together pretty well, I will say, but they sometimes present the modeller with a little bit of a challenge, and that's what modelling's about in my world. Modelling is about solving the series of small problems that you see and encounter, like that, for example, and like the fits here. It's about seeing, excuse me, and solving those problems as you encounter them, the thrill of achieving that, I think, really, from my point of view, never really goes away. I like doing that, and it's very satisfying when you've achieved the aim, which is to make a load of different bits of plastic look like an aeroplane or a tank or whatever, and good for you, all you tankers out there who do that, and in particular people like Robert Rim's models who handle all those little tiny weeny parts on those Ryefield kits. You see a little gap there that's come up. I think that's just a slight bend and imperfection in the plastic. It's just one of those things that happens from time to time. We just have to deal with it, really. Those little tiny pieces on those Ryefield kits are just some of them are beyond belief. I've got, as you will know, some of you who follow my channel, I was off camera there for a minute, some of you who follow my channel will know that I have a Ryefield Challenger 2 which I haven't built, and for those of you who are waiting for it, look, I'm really sorry. I'm pretty sure I'll get round to it sometime ere I die, and you'll be able to see it, but it's actually not far off being completed. I do need to paint it, of course, and do that, that side of it, and that'll be a reasonably long piece of work. So as I say, we'll get to it at some stage, but I think sometimes it's about whether you want to do it or not, and I look at it sometimes and think, no, I don't really want to do that today. I know I think I ought to, but I just don't quite want to. But there we go. I hope you'll forgive me for my indiscretions. From time to time. You're all a frightfully decent lot, and you're very kind to me, I have to say, and I'm obliged to you very much. So there we go. Each and every one of you who've subscribed, and I see the numbers going up every day, which is kind of a surprise, to be honest with you, but there we are. But I am once again very much obliged. Yes, you can see the flexion in the flexion, that is the bending in the wing sections here. I think if I'd have been thinking about this, I'd have put some strengthening members inside the wings here, because there aren't any spars or anything like that. But too little too late, no problem there. We just have to deal with it as it is, don't we? So and all the gap filling, by the way, I'm going to do after I'm done. Now, one thing I will say about this is this aerial boom here, and those of you who remember the Qatari Spitfire, the 132 Spitfire Mark 1A that I did, right near the end of the build I knocked the bloody aerial boom off and had to make another one. I'm trying desperately not to knock this one off, but I have knocked it several times, including just a few seconds ago, so I have to be particularly careful. So our next challenge, I've had a bit of a thought about this. I might look to put white cap glue, the old extra thick, on this so that I can perhaps hold it in place, because the gaps are a bit larger than you might particularly want. I think that would be the way to do it. So to glue onto these faces around here and around the cowling here, and hopefully not make too much of a haulix of it. Let's turn that up the right way again. That might be the way to do it. So let's have a quick look and see if we can put this in. Oh, hang on, there's some incompleteness on this by the look of it, or is there? No, maybe not. Maybe, oh no, hang on a minute. There's a, yeah, there's a sprue nib there. That's not very clever of me. So I've got to quite carefully do this. Just pull that sprue nib out there. You can see it now. It begins to show up. Yes, there it is. Just have at that a minute with a just a chiselled knife edge blade there. There we go. I think that's sorted that out, and the other side's okay, so that's the wrong way round. Put that out the way. We don't need that just there, do we? So let's see if we can we'll just see if we can make all of this fit together so that it's all in a line. So I think yeah, that needs to be glued in first, I think, by the look of it. And another thing that needs filing off there. There we go. That's that sorted. So I think what we're going to do here is we'll get that sighted as centrally as we can, and I'm just going to tack that in with a bit of extra thin quickset, and then if that doesn't quite play, at least I've got a fighting chance of getting the thing out again. So let's do that, shall we? There, and then one in the corner there. There we go. So that being equal, I can then, let's do good housekeeping, make sure we do that. Put that up out the way. Oh, that's, I'm sure I undid that just a second ago. There we go. Right, so oh, got to not press on that. Yeah, that looks all right. Oh, hang on, that looks better. It looked all right before, but it looks better now. Yeah, I think that's the setting to make there. So how to glue this really is what's causing me a problem, really. I think what I'm going to do is just have at this with a make sure it's out the way, because the last thing I want to do is to address the top of my model with good old Ronald Burns extra thick. Don't want to do that. Now it is possible to get a smaller brush to deal with this particular gluing job. I haven't got round to doing that because I haven't actually finished any of my bottles of cement as of yet. So let's see if we can get that stuck on. Just move that out of the way. Okay, so nice and carefully just get ourselves addressed up to the gaps there, and then yeah, that's turned out quite nicely. Excuse me. I am sorry everybody about that. Must apologise for my constant barking. So we'll just hold that for a second or two here, and yeah, I think that's turned out not badly, not badly at all. It's better than I'd anticipated, and I'm therefore relatively pleased with it. I think what we'll then do is I'll just get some tape and we'll just tape that on. So I can get some of that. That clicking noise was the flaps hitting on the table here, on this stuff here. So I would kind of advise against doing that, because one day they will break off and all will be ashes and unspeakable injustice and mortification, to use a phrase coined by Neville Cardus. But we don't want any of that, so we've there goes that bloody aerial boom again. But we're safe this time. So now what we can do is just leave that to glue itself in. We're going to have to do some work on some seams here, as you can see, but we are now coming towards a point where we have a model. We have ourselves an A8 Focke Wulf, and the next time around when we come to this, we'll be putting some extra components on here. We'll be looking at the undercarriage, the oleo legs, and getting this thing on its feet, so to speak. And to be honest with you, at that stage we'll be through to having completed up to essentially stage 7 now, with the exception of the machine gun, those machine gun barrels, which I'm not going to put in until after we've painted. We're sort of through the main guts of the aircraft, and then we're into oleo legs and the tank there, and then we're off to putting in the canopy and so on, and the propeller. I haven't made the propeller yet, and that should have been done excuse me, right the way back there. So what we'll do is next time around, when I come to do this again, I'll do the oleo legs and the propeller, and possibly the auxiliary fuel tank and so on and so forth as well, maybe. Let's see how we go with that, shall we? So if you're happy with that as a deal, I'm happy with that as a deal, and we'll leave it at that now. And once again, let me say thank you very much to you all for tuning in and taking your time to come and look at my haphazard meanderings, and big thanks to excuse me, to Paul the Plastic Monkey. Go look at his stuff, to the Ice Queen 7, and in particular, I think on this occasion, to the most excellent Nigel at Nigel's Modelling Bench. Let's not forget that it was Black Rifle Modelling Works and Nigel that meant that I got this kit, and I'm delighted that I did. I'm very fortunate that happened, and I have Nigel to thank for that, who's a gentleman in every imaginable way, an excellent modeller. I mean, he's got 25,000 subs, he's bound to be pretty bloody good at it, isn't he? I pay him every compliment I can. So remember Nigel, when you come to watching your modelling videos, and go and watch him and what he's going on, particularly with that A20 Havoc over Europe model, which I think is rather good, and his excellent Lancaster 132, which I find to be absolutely compelling viewing. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thanks very much indeed for your time this evening, and I look forward to seeing you until the next time, and take care, go steady, bye for now.